Hello, today we're going to be talking about the digestive system. Now we've done this pretty thoroughly when we did the pig dissection, so this will be a review for you. Digestion is the process that will break down food that we ingest into smaller, more usable pieces, and we will talk further about how each of the organic compounds that we ingest do get broken down and digested within the body. There are two main types of digestion. The first one is the physical component. That is when we take food into our mouth and we start chewing it. That allows us to break down the food, and it actually increases the surface area so that the chemical part that is going to take place next will be a little easier. The chemical part is going to take place down in the digestive system, primarily in the stomach and the intestines. Okay, and there's going to be different digestive enzymes or juices that will help break down the food into usable nutrients for our body. So this is a little bit about how we start off. It starts off in the mouth, then goes down into the pharynx, esophagus, into the stomach, and then further into the two intestines, the small first and then the large, and then the waste will actually pass out the anus. So we first start off with the digestive system when we take food into our mouth through ingestion. So the first step is here in the mouth. Here we have a tongue, we have saliva that will help break down the food. The saliva will help add, liquid into it to start breaking down, especially the carbohydrates. It also contains the saliva buffers that will neutralize the acid that's in your mouth, will often help prevent cavities. It also has a glycoprotein called mucin inside the saliva that is going to help protect the lining of your mouth from getting hurt through abrasions, and it also will help lubricate it so that it is easier to swallow. Okay, and again, like I said before, carbohydrates will start being broken down here. So there is an enzyme called salivary amylase that will help break down the starch into the glucose component. And if you remember, when we were talking about organic compounds, I gave you the matzo cracker, and we were chewing it, and then eventually it tasted a little sweet. After the mouth, it is going to go into the pharynx, and the pharynx is in the throat region. Okay, it does connect with the esophagus and the trachea. Okay, and pretty much when we swallow, the epiglottis will cover up the windpipe or the trachea so that we don't have the food going down the wrong pipe. And sometimes when you do choke, you say, oh, it went down the wrong pipe. That's because your epiglottis right here did not cover it. Okay, so as you swallow, and it goes into the pharynx, it will then go into the esophagus. Okay, muscular contractions are going to help push that down, and it will happen as it goes all the way down into the stomach, and those are called sphincter muscles, and they're found on either end of the stomach that will help with those contractions to get the food in and then to get things out. Your stomach is next, and you can see that the stomach is very rich, okay, with that rugae. And again, if you remember that from the shark and also in the different dissections we've seen, it helps to increase the space inside of the stomach so you can hold more, and it also will help in the churning as we go through the digestion. Okay, it actually can hold up to 2 liters of food, and that's on average. There are bigger people who could eat more, and then obviously there are smaller people that do not eat as much. There are a lot of gastric juices that are in there, and the pH is very low. It's very acidic. It's actually low enough to dissolve iron in there. But what happens is when the food gets there and all the digestive juices kind of connect, it makes what's called chyme, and that is like a very soup-like mush that will then get pushed down into the small intestine. And this takes about 2 to 6 hours to happen after you eat a meal. Okay, it will then go into the small intestine. If you remember from the dissections, the small intestine is actually larger than the large intestine. It's longer in fact. For humans, it's about 6 meters long, excuse me, and it does have these, I hopefully have, yes, the pictures of these villi. These villi are all within the small intestine that will help to increase the surface area so you can get more surface area to absorb the nutrients that we do have. As far as the structure of the small intestine goes, I'll go back in a second. You do have the duodenum, okay, and you also have the jejunum and the ileum. Okay, those are just different parts of the small intestine. And again, the main goal of the small intestine is to absorb nutrients, and that happens in the jejunum and the ileum. Okay, because the duodenum is where the first kind of connects, and it gets the digestive juices that were secreted by the pancreas, liver, gallbladder. And remember, the pancreas, liver, and the gallbladder, those are all accessory organs that help aid in the digestion. Okay, the pancreas, just so you guys know, it does have enzymes that help to buffer the acidity of that chyme or that food mush that occurred from the stomach. And the liver here produces bile, and the bile is what actually digests the fat, where the gallbladder stores the bile. So then the food, or I guess the waste, is now going to be moving into the large intestine. This is where there are the water is getting removed so that you can get a solid waste, and obviously if there is not water removal, then you have the diarrhea that some people get. Okay, undigested food will leave out through the anus. So things that are not digested or waste leaves out the anus. And it really takes about 12 to 24 hours for this whole process to go from the mouth through the anus when you do eat. All right, the whole digestive tract for humans is about 9 meters, which is very big. Okay, so just to kind of recap, we start off at the mouth, we then go to the pharynx, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, liver, and the large intestine out through the anus. The liver, the gallbladder, and the pancreas are accessory organs that help contribute to the digestion, but the food and the nutrients do not pass through there. So we are going to talk about how our different organic compounds are digested. First, we have carbohydrate digestion. If you remember, carbohydrates are, we can have monosaccharides, disaccharides, polysaccharides. Majority of our food is polysaccharides, the starch. We do have fruit, which would be the monosaccharides. We do disaccharides, which is the sugar. Carbohydrate digestion does take place in the mouth, again with the salivary amylase, and also in the small intestine. So again, carbohydrates are digested in the mouth and the small intestine. Proteins, okay, and again, proteins are a little different. Those are the meats, the eggs, the cheeses, the beans. This occurs in the stomach and small intestine. And we're breaking down proteins into the amino acids and the essential nutrients that we need from them. The last one is fat digestion. Fats are the lipids, and this occurs solely in the small intestine. And if you realize, all three, carbs, lipids, and proteins, all get digested in the small intestine. Fat is primarily in the small intestine. Okay, carbohydrates is in the mouth and small intestine, and then the proteins is in the stomach and small intestine. If you have any questions, please see me tomorrow. Have a great day.